What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sports with Jake. Hope all doing well. So, first of all, sorry that you guys are seeing a bunch of these all on, you're going to be Thursday or Friday. Right now, it's actually Monday when I'm recording this. Having some computer problems, and the studio is still not fixed. So, I'm actually not even using the computer I usually use. I'm using a different one. It's this crappy-ass, old, smaller computer. So, I'm using a different a service to do his podcast, and I'm unable to edit it until just before you guys are seeing this, and right now Monday. You guys, obviously, by the time you guys are seeing it, it's now Thursday or Friday. But I didn't want to, because obviously I didn't do a podcast Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of last week because I was traveling back home. So I didn't want to, and now I didn't want to go possibly a full another week without talking about anything. A lot of stuff going on, the NBA Finals going on, the Stanley Cup's going on, a lot of other stuff is going on. NBA free agency, NHL free agency is coming up. So I didn't want to go a whole week without, go almost 2 weeks without talking about anything. So I figured let's, it'll suck to have to, record a podcast and not put it out there until a few days later, but it was better than nothing. So wanted to do something. So here we are. But news came in not too long before I started to do this, that Dan Hurley has rejected the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, rumors swirled over the last week or so that UConn head coach Dan Hurley was offered the Los Angeles Lakers head coach. They have made him a big offer to the point where he was strongly considering it. He decided he would make a decision today, and he decided that he is going to stay at UConn. He was offered 6 years and $70 million, and he turned that down. That's a lot of money to turn down. He got a 5-year extension worth $32 million. Last year from UConn, so that's doing the math. That's just under $6.5 million a year. The deal he got from the Lakers was about 11.5, maybe just over. So he turned down almost twice as much money per year and for an extra year from the Los Angeles Lakers. But I kind of don't blame him. He's got a great thing going at UConn. He's completely turned that program around. He's won back-to-back national championships. Winning in back-to-back years in college is very hard to do. With NIL and the transfer portal is almost impossible. And to be as dominant as they were over these last 2 years is practically impossible. So UConn can never fire the guy. They just can't. Not that they ever would, but even if they wanted to, you just can't. The money that he brings in for the school and for the program, what he's done for the program, you can't. He's got a great thing going. I mean, I'm not betting him. If I was it'd be hard not to bet the UConn Huskies to be the favorites to win national championship yet again this year. He's done a phenomenal job, and the Lakers are a complete mess right now. You have two aging stars who, are basically running the organization. LeBron James and Anthony Davis, especially LeBron, obviously. The rest of the roster around them is not that good. They're in a really stacked West. They're, at best, maybe the 6th or 7th best team in the conference. Every year they get stuck in the play-in. They have to face off against Denver in the first round, and they just match up so poorly against that team. The team isn't that good. And when he loses in the first round 2 years in a row, he's going to get fired and he'll be out of a job. Now have to go coach some, mediocre college and almost start over. The guy worked really hard to get to where he was at UConn, and he kind of bounced around for a while. He was always kind of in his brother's shadow. His brother is Bobby Hurley, who's at I forget where he is now. He's at Arizona State now. It wasn't until 2 years ago when he won a night with UConn where he really showed people, that he's a legitimately good basketball coach himself. He's not just Bobby Hurley's brother. In fact, Bobby Hurley might be Dan Hurley's brother at this point. And now he won another national championship. He's, to me, the best coach in college basketball right now. If obviously Coach K isn't there anymore, Roy Williams isn't there anymore. Cal Perry's at the end of his career. He just left Kentucky to go to Arkansas. So I think he's the best coach in college basketball right now. And I kind of don't blame him. Yes, it's a lot more money, but the Lakers are a dumpster fire. I'd be shocked if they don't win a championship, which is basically impossible with this team in 2 years who's going to get fired. Unless they're offering him like $100 million or something crazy like that, I don't blame him for staying at UConn. And if he keeps going, I'm sure UConn will pay him whatever he wants. And if he ever wants to go to the NBA, I think a team will give him a lot of money for him to coach their team in the NBA a couple of years down the line, and for probably just as much, as about more money than the Lakers offer them, and probably in a much better situation. So, kudos to Dan Hurley for not taking the bag, not looking at it like, oh, I might get fired in 2 years, but I'll be making $11.5 million a year for the next 6 years, so I can sit on my couch for 4 years and still get paid that money. He's already gotten the crap ton of money from UConn. But Tommy already gotten fired, he would have already gotten the crap ton of money from the Lakers, or he just looked at it as like, you know what, this is a lot of money, but I'm getting paid, $6.5 million, whatever it is, $5-6 million at UConn. I've got a great thing going. I can coach here for as long as I want. If everyone to make the jump to the NBA, I'll have a lot of suitors. They'll offer me probably just as much money, if not more, for an even better situation. Let's stay at UConn, continue to try and stack national championships, and make a lot of money. And if everyone wants to jump to the NBA when the time is right, a lot of people know he'll get a big contract, and he'll have a chance, and if he if he wins multiple nags at UConn, then goes to the NBA and possibly wins a championship, he's going to be in discussion as one of the greatest coaches of all time, and it's as simple as that. So, and like I said, if he got fired 2 years now, he's going to have to. Yes, financially, he doesn't need the money, but for a guy who still wants to coach, now he doesn't have to post to staying at UConn, which is the program in college basketball right now. He'd have to coach some mediocre Division I program at first before he jumped into a big time school again. So it would have taken time. So he's better off staying where he is. So kudos to. But let's talk about the NBA Finals. Boston's up 2-0. They cruised in Game 1, winning 107-89 in that one. And then, of course, in Game 2, which was last night, not last night. I mean, Sunday night. You guys are seeing this 4 days after I'm recording this. Boston takes Game 2, 105-98, as they advance the series to Dallas. Them up 2-0. Jason Tatum really hasn't even played that well. Didn't do a whole lot in Game 1. Then in Game 2, he had 18 points, but did not shoot the ball well. Even Jaylen Brown had 21. That didn't do anything special. Drew Holiday already stepped up, having 26 points. I think he only missed 3 or 4 shots all night. Porzingis played well. A lot of these role players were already stepped up for the Boston Celtics. Lucas played really well in the first 2 games, but he needs a lot of help. Kyrie Irving's been really, really bad in the first 2 games. He has, been a complete brick from 3. He has not played well at all. I think he's lost 12 straight games against the Boston Celtics since he left that team. That's crazy. Boston's had his number, and Boston's up 2-0. It's looking really bleak for the Mavericks. Boston hasn't even played that well, and they're up 2-0. Dallas has not proved that they can win at TD Garden. Unless I take both in Dallas, which is going to be hard to do, I don't see how they win the series. Kyrie's not giving them anything. Dallas' other role players like P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford and all these other guys aren't stepping up enough for the Dallas Mavericks. It's really just Luka. Look, Luka's putting up 30, 10, 12 in the series every night, but he's taken. Last night, he had a couple of really bad shots, a couple of really bad turnovers. I think he's losing confidence in his teammates because, Kyrie is supposed to be the perfect co-star for him. He's not showing up, and, P.J. Washington is not, he's in a shooting slump, has been in a shooting slump since the Minnesota series. He's not stepping up like he was already in the postseason. But Daniel Gafford's not doing a whole lot. Derek Lively can only do so much. And he just doesn't have the help that he needs in this series. The Boston is up 2-0 right now in the series, and the NBA has finalized their media rights deal. So a deal which is an 11-year deal with 3 different companies. It's going to bring in about $76 billion for the NBA over the next 11 years. NBC is going to pay the NBA about $2.5 billion a year. Amazon is going to pay the NBA about $1.8 billion per year. And Disney, of course, that's ESPN. Disney owns ESPN. It's going to pay them about $2.6 billion per year. The ESPN already have the idea with the NBA. They just got extended, and then Amazon and NBC threw their name into the hat. So far, when it comes to who's going to get certain games, NBC is going to get about 100 games a season. It's going to, those games, half of them or so are going to be on Peacock. The other half will just be on Channel 4 NBC. Amazon is going to get, they're going to get a, I'm not sure how many, but they're going to get definitely going to get a bunch of regular season and postseason games. And they're going to get, they're going to be, they're also going to get the conference finals in certain years. And then ESPN, they are going to continue to get the NBA finals. They're going to get fewer games than they were with Amazon and NBC now in the mix. But they will continue to get the NBA finals every year. So that's the deal. TNT is not involved. They because they have lost the NBA, Turner Sports. Apparently, they are still trying to keep inside the NBA. They're trying to get the NBA to buy the inside the NBA. Yeah, that's very complicated. Apparently, Charles Barkley has his own production company. There have been people who have asked him why don't you sign all four to your own production company? Charles has done a bunch of interviews about this. He basically said Ernie Johnson is probably going to retire soon. He's pushing 70 years old. He's always worked for Turner Sports. He doesn't think he would leave Turner Sports, which I could understand. Money definitely talks, though. But this is going to take place after next year. So you got one more year of inside the NBA, and it looks like it's probably going to be over. But TNT is trying to salvage. Look, they screwed up. They lost the NBA. That's a really tough situation. And not even for the four of them. Yes, I'm sure the four of them, their show ending. I'm sure they have a lot of feelings about that. But just the behind the scenes people who work really hard, aren't getting the recognition or the money that the four of them get. They're about to basically be out of a job in a year. So it's just a really tough situation for everybody. Charles Barkley has talked about how horrible he feels for people that he works with, and he has actually called out TNT saying, they messed up, and he's right, they did. I don't know how you lose the show and you lose the NBA, but they're trying to see if they can salvage it, but there's a lot of roadblocks before they can do that. That is the NBA Media Rights Show. Will take place after next year. I'm going to continue with my NBA off-season series. I'm going to do 5 teams today. I was doing the math on how many days I missed. I'm going to do 5 teams today and 5 teams tomorrow on Tuesday. And again, you'll see both of these. You'll see every podcast that I do. You'll see them all Thursday or Friday, and then I probably won't do an actual one that day and post it the same day. Every day I go back up to Connecticut. I'm currently in New York right now, Thursday or Friday. But regardless, we're going to start with the Brooklyn Nets. So Nets still feeling the effects from the Durant, Kyrie, Harden era, which was an absolute disaster. Won just 32 games here. We're the first team out of the play-in in the Eastern Conference. When it comes to free agents, Nicholas Claxton is definitely their top free agent. He's a really good young center, 25 years old. He is currently a free agent. That's the big guy they need to resign. They have a bunch of exceptions. They have the biennial exception. They have a crap ton of trade exceptions. They have a decent amount of money. They're almost $40 million clear of that first apron. They're almost $50.5 million clear of the second apron. So they have a good amount of money to spend. Obviously, they're stuck with the Ben Simmons contract. He's worth right now, earning $40.3 million as he's due next year. I mean, if I had to guess, he could be a buyout candidate, but it's complicated because obviously he's the guy. Can you physically do that? And as self-service Ben Simmons is, would he be willing to accept the buyout? And it's very complicated. They haven't done it at this point. Maybe I don't know what they're trying to get out of him. but he's still there. But if he gets bought out, I think his career is over. I don't know who would pick him up. But to me, look, they have a couple pieces that I like. I like the young guard they got, Cam Thomas. I think he's a pretty good player. He also needs to work on his shot selection a little bit, but he averaged 24 points a game this year. I like Mikal Bridges. I think he's a very good player. He's a really good third option, great defender, but he's not a one. Cam Johnson's a pretty good player. And other than that, there really isn't much there. Like, DFS is a pretty good perimeter defender. That's about it. In fact, I think they traded him away. So, never mind. They're just still paying him for whatever stupid reason. And then, yeah, he's in, no, they still have him. I'm thinking of somebody else. Who's the guy that they turned down all those draft picks for? I forget. But anyway, they still got this guy. And other than that, there's really nothing to like at all in Brooklyn. I mean, they just got to try and build for the draft. That's really all they could do. I mean, they screwed themselves. Sean Marks and Joe Tsai, the owner, they completely screwed themselves with this, with the whole era with Durant and Kyrie and Harden. So, they don't have any draft picks this year, so I don't know what they're going to do. They have a lot of picks coming up. In 25, they have swap rights with Houston, so they can choose to swap with Houston if they get worse picked in Houston. And they have the Suns pick as well. In 26, they have Houston's pick, and in 2027, again, you have swap rights with Houston. Houston's can swap with them, and then they have potentially, they could get they have a top 4 protected pick from Philly. They have they could get a pick from OKC. They also have Phoenix's pick. So coming up, they have a lot of people to see there. They don't have any picks, so they're staring third in the face. Honestly, again, found them re-sign Nick Claxton, and at that point, I don't know what else they can really do. You think your short line's going to be Cam Thomas, I guess, Bridges, Johnson, DFS, and Claxton, and then their bench. I mean, their best bench pieces might be Dennis Schroeder, to be honest, so there isn't a whole lot there. But to me, I think one more year of miserableness for them, just feeling the effects of the Durant, Kyrie, and Harden era, that they have no one but themselves to blame. I mean, they hired Jordy Fernandez as their coach. I've never heard of a dude. He's the assistant for the Kings. I mean, he worked with Mike Brown as a good coach, but the fact that they interviewed Mike Budenholzer and they went with this dude is concerning. I don't know what they were thinking. But to me, they're still kind of screwed, but they'll have the potential assets to try and fix this thing starting after next year. But for next year, they are pretty much screwed, if I'm being completely honest. That's what I would do if I was Brooklyn Nets. Just re-sign Claxton and deal with this crap for another year. But moving on, we're going to go over the teams that were in the play in this year in the Eastern Conference, starting with the Atlanta Hawks. They need to blow this team up. It's just time. I don't know what else they're waiting for. As a free agents, Sadiq Bey is a restricted free agent. That's really their only key free agent. Of course, they have the number 1 pick in this year's draft, but this draft is terrible, so that's not. From what I've heard, having the number 1 pick in this year's draft is equal to drafting like Tobias Harris. So that's really nothing to take home. They have a non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which is $12.8 million. The biannual exception is $4.6 million. They have a couple of trade exceptions. They don't have a ton of money to spend. They only have $21.5 million clear of the second apron. There's trade discussions about rumors they might trade Trae Young, they might trade Dejounte Murray, Clint Capella could be on the block. They need to blow his team up. One guys I'd maybe keep, maybe DeAndre Hunter. He's still 27 years old. Okongwu's only 24. I don't know what you get for him anyway. Jalen Johnson's only 23. Cody Buffkin's 21 and Jay Griffin's 21, but these guys haven't even shown a whole lot anyway. But blow his team up. It's time. A few years ago, you got a little Cinderella run in the 2021 season, in the 72-game season. You go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Since then, they have not been out of the first round. The Dejounte Murray and Trae Young backcourt, it's a failed experiment. End that experiment. They need to blow his team up and just completely start over. That's what they need to do. But moving on to the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, for the second year in a row, lost in the were the 9th seed and lost in the play-in. Of course, both times lost in that. They were able to get by in the 9-10 game, but in the 8-9 game, lost to the Miami Heat to be eliminated from playoff contention. They need to do the exact same thing that they win the Hawks and do. They need to blow it up. By the way, why does Billy Donovan still have a job? I have no idea. He's terrible. He's a good college coach. He is not an NBA head coach. Trade everybody. Zach LaVine, I don't know what you get for him because he's always hurt and he's not the number one option, and he's making $40 million this year. And he's got a couple of years left after that. So I'm not sure what they can get for him. It's going to be hard to even. I don't know if they'll even get a protected first round pick for him. He's due $43 million next year. The year after that, he's due almost 46. He's got a player option for $48.9 million. So he's practically got 3 years and like $135 million or something like that left on his deal on that 5-year, $250 million extension that he signed a couple of years ago. So there wasn't a whole lot of value there, but I think they got to try and move him. Vooch is the guy I think they should look to move. I'm surprised Alex Caruso didn't get traded. Now he shouldn't be hard to trade. He's a guy does not have. He only has 1 more year left. It's not for a lot of money. It's $9.8 million. It's not even fully guaranteed. It guarantees on June the 30th. So we'll see if they trade him, sooner rather than later. With that coming up, if you want to keep Kobe White because he's young and he had a good year this year, like apparently the Bulls coming back next year. I don't know why he's going to give them guys and play in 3 years. Wasn't exactly a star when he did play. You got DeMar DeRozan, who's a free agent. I don't know. Apparently, he wants to go back to Chicago. I don't know why he would. He's 35, chasing a ring at this point. Patrick Williams is a restricted free agent. The only other key free agent they have is Andre Drummond. And calling him a key free agent is a bit of a stretch. And they got the 11th pick in the draft. You have a non-taxpayer, a biannual exception. And they have money to spend. They're $45 million clear of the first apron, but they also need to blow that team up, and they do that right now. But now it's starting to get interesting. We got teams that actually did qualify for the postseason. Let's talk about the Miami Heat. So Miami were able to get out of the play-in, but of course lost in 5 to the Boston Celtics in the first round. Of course, Jimmy Butler was hurt for that series. There's a lot of rumors going around that Jimmy Butler might want to be traded. There's some speculation about that. Apparently, he's due for an extension, which is a 2-year deal, which is worth like $111 million, something like that. Apparently, Bam Adebayo is also due for an extension. He's already due $34.8 million. You look at their free agents. No one really, to be honest. Only guys are Haywood Highsmith, Patty Mills, and DeLon Wright. And they have a taxpayer mid-level exception, which is $5.1 million. They have 4 trade exceptions. They are only $4.6 million for the second apron. So how that works is when you're up against that, all you really have money for is veteran minimum deals and to sign your draft picks. There's not a lot of things you could do. They got a bunch of player options. Caleb Barton's got one for $7.1 million. Kevin Love's got one for $4 million. Josh Richardson has one for $3 million. And Thomas Bryant's one for $2.8 million. Problem with this team, I don't think there's a starting caliber point guard on this roster. Well, they didn't have until they got Terry Rozier, at least. He's more of a 2-guard, but even if you want to say he's a 1, he plays like a 2 to me. He's a pretty good player. To me, Tyler Hero is really overrated. I think he'd be a really good 6-man. You saw him win 6-man of the year a couple of years ago when the Heat were, they were in the conference finals, were, basically a shot away from the NBA finals. That being said, as a starter, he hasn't been great. when he's on, he's a guy that can give you 27 points. But when he's off, he's lucky if he gives you 7. So he's inconsistent. I think he's a really good sixth man. To me, he's overrated. Duncan Robinson had a much better year this year, but he's another guy he's a streaky shooter. But first of all he's bringing to you is guy who can shoot, who can catch and shoot, and even he can be inconsistent with that as well. Martin's a fine 3-and-D guy on your bench, nothing more. Kevin Love is obviously well past his prime. He can shoot the occasional 3 once in a while on the bench, and that's about it. Bam's a really good player. He's a phenomenal defender. Isn't great offensively though. Pretty good scorer inside. Good rebounder, but doesn't really have a jump shot. Let's see. Jimmy's a great player. Phenomenal defender. Great scorer. He's really good. He's obviously a very good performer in clutch time in the postseason, but he's also going to be 35 years old. He's getting older. He's had to carry this team for a while. How much longer can he really do it? You've seen him kind of break down in recent postseasons 2 years ago. And he hits incredible run to the playoffs, to the finals rather. Obviously he twisted his ankle in game 1 against the Knicks in the conference semifinals, and he kind of wasn't the same after that. And by the finals, you could tell he was probably hampered. He hurt himself in the playing game against Philly. Ended up being more serious injury than we thought. I think it was his ankle. Ended up missing the rest of the playoffs. Didn't play in the playing game against Chicago, and then he missed the entire series against Boston. Even that series went 7, I don't think he was going to play. This team, they need guys that can create their own shot. I've been saying it for a couple of years now. They tried to go out and get a star for him, but they've also struck out a couple of times. Pat Rice said a year ago, he's been trying, but it's saying he's been having some trouble doing it, saying it's hard. I don't know what he expects. But to me, their window is slowly closing. Jimmy's 35 years old. This team really isn't that good. They were in the finals 2 years ago. That was kind of a Cinderella run. The year before, obviously, we were in the game 7 of the conference finals, had that crazy series against Boston. And this year, they were 8 again, but didn't have the same magic. Losing the first round. They're not as deep as they once were. The showing up right now is Rozier, Hero, Jimmy, Jaquez, who is a very good rookie season, and Bam. And then come on the bench, you got Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, and Kevin Love. They're not as good defensively. I think a Spoelstra team should be, just the way they're built. They don't have enough 3-point shooting. They're not very deep, which is something that they've always prided themselves on. So it's kind of hard to say where they go from here. But they really need to get. They would be a team. I think they should call the Bulls and look to a guy like Zach LaVine. They need a legit second option next to Jimmy, because it certainly ain't Tyler Hero. Taylor Hero's not that kind of player, and it's Ben Adebayo. He doesn't give you enough offensively to be a legit second option. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, I like him a lot. But he does on the defensive end, not many guys can do. But at the same time, for a team, he can't be, the legit second option next to Jimmy Butler. At least not offensively. And to finish up, we're going to go to the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Sixers have been a topic of discussion since they were eliminated in the first round by the New York Knicks in the playoffs. Obviously Tyrese Maxey needs a contract. Apparently, he's a restricted free agent. Apparently, they are planning to offer him a 5-year extension worth $205 million. I sure hope so, because he's turning into a star. But they only have 4 players under contract for next year. They've been linked to Paul George. They've been linked to LeBron James. They've been linked to a bunch of big-time free agents. Pretty much their entire bench of free agents: Tobias Harris, Buddy Hield, Batum, Robert Covington, D'Anthony Melton, Kyle Lowry. They're all free agents, and pretty much their rest of their team campaign. Kelly Oubre, all those guys are all free. The only guy under contract is Joel Embiid. Great player, but he's overrated. I'm sorry, but he is. Paul Reed, third stringer. Then Jeff Dalton and Ricky Council, the fourth or the fifth. I don't know how these freaking Roman numerals work anymore. Never heard of any of those two guys. And, they have a non-taxpayer mid-level and the biannual, a bunch of trade exceptions. I mean, look, they have a zillion dollars to spend because their entire team is for agents. But first of all, they got to pay Maxey. They should bring back some of these bench guys. I mean, bring back Tobias Harris. I don't really think he belongs in the NBA. The guy's horrible. Like Buddy Hield, Nicholas Batum, Robert Covington, Anthony Melton, even Kelly Oubre. Those are guys that aren't bad to have on your bench. I mean, to me, what they're going to do, they need to sit down Tyrese Maxey, tell him, we're giving you the keys. We are building around you now. You are the star. And then they need to pull Joel Embiid into their office and say, look, I think you're a great player, but you break down every year in the playoffs. If you could, we need you to take a back to Maxey. Be his 2, his 1B. You guys can be dominant for a long time. But we need to work. We need to work out with why otherwise this isn't going to work. I mean, he's massively overrated. People always said it. I was always like, the guy is putting up 32 and 12 every year in the regular season. He won an MVP. Should have went the other way, but still, it does count. Then my team played him in the playoffs. I was like, wow, you guys were right. Good God, this man is vastly overrated. But Philly, first thing they need to re-sign Maxey, try and re-sign as many bench guys as they got, and they need to make sure they tell Embiid, you are the 1B, not the 1A. That's what Tyrese Maxey's for. That's what they need to do. Shifting gears, so there was a gambling scandal in the MLB. Nobody does not follow Shohei Ohtani. The main culprit was Tucupita Marcano, who is he has not played baseball in a while since last July because he tore his ACL. He's still working his way back from injury, though. He's still on the project. Well, he was just banned from baseball forever for gambling on the game of baseball. He placed nearly 400 bets. He gambled more than $150,000. Also, he only won 4.3% of his bets. Not only was he betting on his own team, he placed 400 bets. He bet $150,000. He only won 4% of them, so he's not even good at it. So he's dumb. 4 other players were involved as well. Michael Kelly, Jay Groom were 2 of the other players involved. Michael Kelly's all these guys are minor leaguers. Michael Kelly is in the Oakland system. Jay Groom is currently with San Diego. Jose Rodriguez is an infielder for Philadelphia. And Andrew Safran is a pitcher for Arizona. All those guys are minor league players. They got suspended for a full year. Kelly made 10 bets. He averaged $9.92 per bet, and he netted $28.30. Jay Groom made 32 bets. He averaged $15.12 per bet, and he lost $433. Rodriguez placed 28 bets. He averaged $25.86 per bet, and he netted nothing. So he I guess he got it was neutral, I guess. And Safrank made 28 bets. He averaged $15.86 per bet, and he ended up losing $272 at 64 cents. So none of these guys are even good at it. So look, I don't care if guys bet on their own sport. Don't bet on your own sport. Just don't do it. I mean, the other 4 guys bet on like other teams, but don't bet on your own sport. Just don't do it if you're an athlete. Just stop doing it, please. Just stop. Just stop. Moving on to hockey. Stanley Cup final kicked off the other day. And the Florida Panthers took game 1 against the Edmonton Oilers. They won 3-0 in game 1. And they now lead 1-0. Big game from Sergei Bobrovsky standing on his head in that game. Edmonton obviously outplayed Florida, but Bobrovsky comes up big for Florida Panthers, as he has all season, especially in this postseason. And the 49ers from football also shipped into NFL. Christian McCaffrey has been extended 2 years, $30 million, $19 million a year. I think this is very important because this completely resets the running back market. The market's been so depressing for so long because these running backs By the time we're 28 years old, they're already starting to decline. So it's hard to even, wrap your head around even giving them a second contract at times. But this is big. So see all these other backs who are going to be need contracts soon might look at this and be like, hey, let's see if I can get paid. So we'll see. But he was extended by the 49ers, and Darren Waller announced retirement. Giants tight end, former Pro Bowler. Obviously, he's had a lot of injuries the last few years, and he's obviously made he had a very public divorce with WNBA player Kelsey Plum, and made an interesting music video about it a week ago. I don't know what else to say about it, but it was interesting. I wouldn't necessarily call it good music. I wouldn't say it was a good music video. It was a music video. It's been rumors for weeks and months. He's going to retire, and it's now official. He announced it on his podcast. He retires. He's retired. I guess that's what playing with Daniel Jones for would do to a guy, but hopefully he can just enjoy himself in retirement. He's a very cool story. He came up with the Ravens. He actually had some substance abuse problems, got himself clean, became a stud with the Raiders, finished up with the Giants, but injuries cut his career a little short, but overall had a very good career. The French Open is over. Iga Swiatek, the number one player for the women, wins the French Open for her side, and Carlos Alcaraz wins the French Open. And the men's side had an incredible 5-set match against Alexander Zverev, I believe was his name. Alcaraz is now the youngest player to win Grand Slams on all three surfaces. He's only 21 years old and already has 3 majors. He's going to be the next superstar. Now, if he Djokovic's at the end, Federer's retired. Nadal appears to be about to retire. So, even on the women's side, obviously Serena Williams has retired. Venus doesn't really do much anymore. So, there's a lot of youth now in the tennis game, and these are the 2 best players in the world, male from Iga Swiatek and Carlos Alcaraz. It's not even close. Down to golf. Sky Scheffler wins the Memorial Tournament. Another win for him. It's his 5th one in the year. He's the only player besides Tiger Woods to win the Memorial Tournament, the Masters, and the Players Championship in the same year. The guy's on another level right now. He is the best golfer in the world. It is not even close. He's an absolute stud. He missed the Memorial Tournament. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.